Good day, everybody, and welcome to the Ryerson Leadership Lab's latest video conversation through the Making the Future class at CSSH 505 through the Faculty of Arts, Ryerson Faculty of Arts, and Chang School of Continuing Education. I'm Kareem Bardisi. I'm the instructor for this class, and we're joined today primarily by Making the Future students and a good number of students from other fields and other places, our broader student community here at Ryerson. I'm really glad to have you all joining us today. And we're very lucky to have President Mohamed Lachemi as our special guest joining us today. He'll be speaking for about 10 minutes and taking your questions. And expect to have some more logins in the coming minutes. We just wanted to make sure that we had the video link to our students, and some of them are still receiving that, I understand. This is a great opportunity, I think, to have a conversation in our respective places of isolation. This has been a tough week for a lot of us, and it's a real opportunity, I think, to hear from a leadership perspective how a leader of an institution, someone who has navigated difficult situations in the past, and even including his childhood. And there are some leadership lessons to come from that. Someone I look up to greatly, and who's leading our institution during this time. And you really get an appreciation of all the moving parts of a complex institution like a university at a time like this. And understanding what the role of a university president is a really important one right now. So I'm really looking forward to having President Lachemi speak to us for some time and then answer your questions. And again, there's the Slido platform that is up, sli.do, and the login is RLL3, and you can vote up questions and add questions there. And we'll be taking as many of your questions as possible after we hear from President Lachemi. Really appreciate everyone's engagement at this time. As you can see, President Lachemi, we continue to have an engaged student learning community here as we learn about issues of leadership and public policy and how to make change at a time where there is no roadmap, there is no guidebook, there is just perhaps our best sense of what we're capable of and what we're best at. So with that, I'll throw it over to Famida or Braylon, Famida Kamali or Braylon Guppy from the Ryerson Leadership Lab to lead us through the process, and then we'll hear from President Lachemi.
Hi, I'm going to let Nadia do that.
Okay.
Okay, hi everybody. We're thrilled to have President Lachemi speak with us today. He's going to be talking about Ryerson's responses, supports, and actions during this crisis. Some questions will kind of follow the themes of what leadership looks like right now at Ryerson, what kinds of leadership are needed in our community right now, what systemic or institutional processes are already in place, and what his experience as a leader during this time has been like, as well as anything he wants to say about what he's learned about leadership throughout his career or life in general. We will be taking questions on Slido. You can participate by going to, again, sli.do and entering the code RLL3. We'll be posting this information in the chat as we go along if any of you have missed this. The way it works is questions get upvoted. So please upvote the questions of others that you find relevant to this discussion, and questions that have the highest engagement will be placed higher in the queue. I would also like to note that there's going to be many questions that President Lachemi can't answer or we won't be able to get to. These questions will still get sent to his office, and all questions will get a response within a week or two, and we will also be posting a recorded version of this session in the next few days. So with that, I will turn it over to President Lachemi to say a few words. He is muted.
Thank you so much, and hi everyone. I see many familiar faces, familiar names. students and staff, thank you so much for joining us during this discussion today. And I'm glad that also we have students from a variety of faculties and backgrounds here at Ryerson. It's really a pleasure for me to spend the next hour or so with you. The last few weeks have tested us all, our creativity, our patience, and our ability to adapt. But we have also witnessed impressive demonstrations of innovation, collaboration, and resilience from all of our community members. And I commend you all for participating in sessions like this. And as mentioned by Karim, the engagement is still there, despite the fact that we moved to remote technologies and so on. But I am extremely happy to see the level of engagement, and your engagement is key to helping us move forward from this pandemic. I'd like to spend a few minutes today talking about how our university is responding to COVID-19, and we can use the rest of the time for questions and discussion. I know that we have limited time, but I also promise that we'll get back to you with answers to the questions that we cannot address today. At Ryerson, we have developed a culture of well-being with a focus on creating safe, secure, healthy, and inclusive community that puts people first. These values have long defined who we are and have guided us during this particular challenging time. We have had three goals in dealing with this global pandemic, and I'm sure that during the question we will address those items in more details. The first one for us is really to protect our community, including students, faculty, and staff, by limiting the potential spread of the virus. Number two is to ensure our students can successfully complete their academic year, and that essential research and scholarly research and creativity activity continues. And number three, which is part of what we do as a city builder, is to work with our partners in government to come up with innovative solutions to help address the challenges resulting from the pandemic. On the academic side, the team that is led by our provost and including all the deans and vice provosts are working tirelessly to ensure students have the resources and support available to successfully finish their term. The administration and operations team is doing an excellent job of maintaining essential operations on our campus. Our emergency response team and our public health threats committee have been monitoring the situation since the beginning, and have been a very helpful source of sound advice, with the communication team working very hard to ensure everyone is kept informed and up to date. In addition, we are looking at long-term economic impact of the pandemic and the actions we need to take now to limit some of the impact. I want to briefly go through some of the support we have offered to students and faculty at this time. a number of units across the university have made resources available to faculty and students to help with the transition to online learning. And we have made that decision in a very quick way, and we understood from the beginning the challenge of dealing with such a decision. And I can tell you that I'm amazed by the dedication of our teaching staff who are working hard with you. I'm talking about students, to deliver the material that is needed to be delivered and keep you engaged. Also, I'm very proud of our Senate. Our Senate approved the option for students to choose to replace winter 2020 final course grade with credit or non-credit instead of letter grade. And the decision is made by students. We are focusing the availability of, or emphasizing the availability of mental health and wellness services for our staff, faculty, and students. Also, students in residence have been offered partial refunds of their housing costs and meal plans. We have taken the difficult decision to postpone convocation till the fall, but we are working hard to explore a virtual option in June to celebrate our students. So we may have two celebrations, one virtual in June and one in person in the fall. I know you will have more questions and feedback about these decisions, and I look forward to that. I'd like also tell you a little bit about the work we have been doing with government and our partners. We have been actively participating in discussions from day one with our Mayor John Tory, various members of the Ontario Government Cabinet, and other members of Queen's Park, and also with the federal government. We have made it clear to all levels of government that we can help leverage our programs and our innovation ecosystem to help Canadians and businesses recover. We also have excellent platforms such as Magnet that will help match job seekers with employers, and Magnet is a platform that is used across different institutions across Canada. The Future Skills Center, which will be an essential part of training and reskilling workers, and also our Rogers Cybersecure Catalyst, which can ramp up online training, providing much needed labor to address a skill shortage in a very critical area of our economy. And here tonight, we are seeing a great example of the Ryerson leadership bringing communities together. They have held, talking about the Leadership Lab, they have held video meetings with change makers and people engaged in the community to bring that learning to you students. With the Brookfield Institute and our new visiting professor, Matthew Mendelson, they have also launched a group called First Policy Response. This will help generate ideas on how to best respond to the impact of COVID-19. This is feeling a real need for all three levels of government. We are also seeing new partnerships and a lot of good news stories that we are sharing with our community. You have probably seen this week some excellent examples of engagement and what I call the Ryerson way of helping the community. We have our labs in the Department of Chemistry and Biology, together with our mailing services, work to donate more than 79,000 pairs of medical gloves, goggles, and gowns to St. Mike's Hospital, Women's College Hospital, and Sunnybrook Hospital. The center, the Creative Technology Lab at FCAD, is working with Unity Health, which is a network of 3 hospitals, including St. Mike's Hospital and Toronto General Hospital, on the development of prototypes for face masks and face shields. The prototypes will be tested by both hospitals to ensure safety, and when approved, the lab is expected to produce 1,000 pieces per day. I think you all hear in the news the shortage of such important protective equipment. A number of our researchers are actively engaged in COVID-19 related research, and I'm very proud of the variety of research topics and areas, from managing misinformation to engaging communities to different areas of research. Some of this may feel removed from your reality, but it's important to mention them because I believe it's part of why many of you choose Ryerson. Because Ryerson brings your education in the classroom to life through change in the community. As difficult as things are right now, there is a change for us to do that now. A final note before we move to questions and discussion. This is a rapidly changing and evolving environment. None of us have all the answers, and I don't pretend that I will have all the answers to the questions tonight. We do the best we can with the information we have, and that means that sometimes we have to go back and rethink our actions. It's all part of the process. And we are all experiencing the same frustrations with the situation. A key element is here. I know that you receive a lot of advice about making sure that you stay healthy and safe. My third advice to you is stay calm in circumstances like that. But we will meet the challenges head on and come through it by working together, looking out for each other and responding to change with understanding and resolve. So I'll stop here and happy to take questions.
Thank you for that, President Lachemi. We have some questions from students we're going to just jump right into. Maya asks, can you elaborate on the process of making change in response to COVID-19? For instance, who needs to be consulted and what needs to be considered?
Thank you very much for the question. Of course, I think Karim mentioned the beginning of this session, the complexity of the situation, but also when you run a university of 46,000 students and you have a community of 50,000 students, it's a very complex organization. In terms of question about the process of making change in response to this, it's important to consult. It's important to work with your team, your executive team, but also important to work with all layers of people who are engaged either from the academic side or from the administrative side. Let me probably just give you just way that we are operating. Of course, you do it internally because you have to work with the framework in which we operate as an institution, but we don't also operate in isolation from the rest of society. And of course, we are publicly supported university. We work very closely with all levels of governments. I mentioned to you that from day one, we have been in discussion with our mayor, with the provincial government, and also with the federal government. So that's important. But internally, I can tell you, I have update calls or with the good news with the technology. We are using Zoom and other tools. So with my executive team, we meet 6 times a week. So every day plus also Sunday, because it's important for us to plan for the coming week. We are able to keep on top of new developments and risks and respond appropriately. It's very important to stay on top of things. And depending on the decision, the executive team consults with relevant departments. Mention the academic side. The provost has also another table with academic leaders, including all deans, the chief librarian, vice provost, and others. And then they also consult with chairs and directors of department. Also, it's important for us to work with the 2 governing bodies that we have. So I have regular updates with our Senate and also our Board of Governors. Both Senate and Board of Governors have committees, so we work also with the committees to make sure that we consult with them on those difficult decisions. For specific responses, such as ones related to changes of the academic processes, for example, the option for students to choose a credit or non-credit instead of letter grade, the priority committee or the Senate priority committee was involved, and we had to have urgent meeting to make sure that we get also the approval from Senate, because decisions like that in a context of academic institution, you need your Senate also to be engaged. All of this takes some time, but everyone is working together in the interest of our students. And despite the complexity of this, I think we moved many files very quickly and smoothly.
Thank you, President Lachemi. And Nadia, maybe can I just ask if Maya has a follow-up question?
Yes.
Maya, do you want to do any follow-up? We'll do that as of all questioners.
I think that really answers what I was mainly looking to get. Obviously, there's so many different things that Ryerson is doing to adjust to the issue at hand. So I think that you really touched on everything.
And we'll get some more specifics in future questions. Okay, thank you. And Nadia, who's next?
So Megan is up next. In the future, do you think Ryerson will convert to more online courses? Have you found any benefits to online learning so far?
That's actually the question that we are receiving from many members of the community, but also from external members to Ryerson. It's very difficult to predict. I'm very proud of, as I said, the way that the academic side of the house, especially our faculty members, have moved very quickly from in-class teaching and learning to remote teaching and learning. However, I have to mention that Ryerson has a good tradition of online learning. Our Cheng School of Continuing Education has probably the best platform for offering online education or online courses. So yes, we have the capacity to do more, but the most important thing also, I think, that we need to preserve is the hands-on education that we offer at Ryerson. And for your information, 2/3 of our students at Ryerson are in professional accredited programs. And in those programs, you need also to work in labs, in studios, and that aspect that is extremely important for us to preserve. Online could be a component of the experience that we give to students, but it's important for us also to address the importance of experiential learning and hands-on education that Ryerson is known to offer.
Great, thank you. Does Megan want to follow up with any comments?
Yeah, no, that answers my question pretty much. I know we kind of like talk about like students if they're having any issues with it, but have you had any like comments from teachers having issues with going online at all in the situation that we're in?
Let me probably just, of course, the first week was a week of transition. Mm-hmm. The decision was made on Friday, March 13th. Sorry about Friday 13th, but we had no choice to move quickly. And we moved everything online, but with the understanding that the following week was a week of transition. I'm very impressed by also the quality of support that was provided by our Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning. I know that the moment that we made that decision on Friday, people were available to support our faculty members. They worked the whole weekend to support our faculty members. One issue at the beginning was really the access, internet access, and that was a challenge for a number of students, not the majority of students, but a number of students did not necessarily have access to internet, and some of them did not have computers or laptops at home. And I have in this case to give a lot of credit to our chief librarian and our library team for being there to support those students. They have couriered hundreds of laptops to students who were in need to have access to a computer. We also managed to give internet hotspots to students without internet access. And also because of the great relationship that we have with Rogers Communication, Rogers was able to give us also service free charge for students who have a phone with Rogers or Fido, and we were able actually in this case to provide unlimited data to students to access internet. So I would say, yes, we had some challenges, but the move or the switch to online overall went very well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, the next question is from Abira. As a leader, how are you managing your own emotions and mental health during this time?
My goodness, that's a good question. As I mentioned in my introduction at the beginning, my advice to you, but I have to advise myself as well, in circumstances like that, we have to stay calm. It's very important. We should not panic. I'm extremely happy with the quality of people that I have around me. My executive team, I always repeat this, it's the best that any university in the country can have, and I'm extremely happy and proud of the quality of people around me. So when you have a strong team, you can really deal with those challenges. On a personal level, I can tell you, I see out of the challenges that we're facing, also some positive things. If there's anything, any win that we are getting out of this crisis, I would say is the importance of the family and spending time with the family. I am blessed that I have a very loving family. We have 4 kids. They're all at home. Everybody's is working from home, so we're 6 of us. And when you have a loving family, that you have all the support around you, it's important. Also, the other thing in terms of emotions, you have also, of course, we are human beings. You think about your family, but also you think about your extended family. In my situation, I have a mother that is 80, and she lives about 6,000 kilometers from here. So it's important for me to be in touch with her on a daily basis. Good thing that we have technology. Sure that she's worried about myself, but I'm also getting that type of support and love from a very loving mother. Also, I have actually, which is a part of when you see people helping others, it gives you pride and satisfaction. I have a sister that is a medical doctor, and she's on the front line now in France. She works in a hospital in southern France, and you have seen probably the numbers in Europe are much higher than here. The situation is much more complex, and they're dealing with a huge number of cases and a huge number of deaths. And if you see the numbers today in France, they had about 13 to 1,400 deaths one single day. So she's dealing with those situations on a daily basis, and talking to her almost on a regular basis just to see how she's doing, but also we support each other. So the importance of the human side is important, and I'm, as I said, very blessed because of the quality of people that I have around me, and also the family that is here to support me.
Great, thank you. So we're getting some questions on Slido that we acknowledge that you might not be able to answer, but I do want to highlight one that is getting a lot of upvotes. Yeah. It's from Aisha. Do you think that it's fair that students are still paying full tuition even though the teaching/study environment has been affected?
That's a good question, and I'm not surprised that you have a lot of people who are supporting this this question. So I totally understand the challenges of students, and we also are paying attention to the financial situations of thousands of students. We understand that a lot of students also rely on part-time jobs, and unfortunately, with the current situation, many are not able to work. I can tell you that our priority is making sure that all students are able to complete their term. I know that it may not be the best solution, but I have heard from many students that for them completing the term and completing the academic year is a top priority, and this is why we put this as top priority. We have also made funds available to assist students facing financial hardship or financial emergency as a result of COVID-19. The provost and all deans are announcing this program, so I believe the information has been communicated to all students or will be done today or tomorrow. And for students who are really in need of help, please apply. We have committed a couple of $1 million, and we are reaching also to friends and donors to help us deal with this. Students who have been asked to move out of the residence, they also are getting refunds for or prorated refunds for residence fees and for meal plans. We, as I said, doing our best. However, we are also helping a lot of students dealing with emergency situations. I can just tell you that we had about 200 students doing their internship abroad, and we have been in touch with all of them. And those who could not afford to come back, we also provided them with support, making sure that they come back safely.
All right, thank you. I just realized that Abira didn't get a chance to follow up. So we'll start with a follow-up from Abira if she has any comments about her statement, and then we'll hear from Aisha.
Okay.
Abira?
Nadia, I actually have one if Abira doesn't.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So just, I mean, I don't think most of us were aware that you had a sister who was a physician in France. And, you know, this is affecting us in different ways, more or less personally. And we probably all know someone who is in harm's way, but not to the extent of harm's way that you were just describing, President Lachemi. You know, without taking us deep into the family dynamics, can you just tell us what kind of reaction she's getting to the voices of concern she must be getting from people who love her, who say, wow, this is a risky situation for you?
I would say, of course, my mother is very concerned about her and her safety. However, my sister, who is younger than me, is very courageous, and she's doing it because she loves what she's doing, and she wanted to be a family doctor and a surgeon because she wanted to save lives. And when I'm talking to her now on a daily basis, that's exactly the response that I'm getting, saying that I have worked hard to do what I'm doing now, and it's about time for me to show that this is important for me as a person, but also important as a professional to help others and save lives. And I mean, I give her a lot of credit, and 100% support her as supporting her as older brother, but also very proud of her.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Aisha, do you have any comments to add?
No, I just want to say thank you to the president for his honest response. I liked how he responded to my question.
Thank you, Aisha.
All right, another question that has been upvoted on Slido is from Kasana, who asks, do you think that Ryerson University should have taken precautions much prior to the blow up of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, that's a good question. Just probably, this is a very complex situation. And given the complexity of operations within a complex organization like ours, I think it's remarkable to see how quickly we were able to come together. And I'm talking about the entire community. I would not take full credit for everything, but I give credit to the community and the team around me. And we made, in my opinion, wise decisions, and also communicate them and put them into effect. So in terms of timing, I will just probably give you some dates. The World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as pandemic on March the 11th. And that was done on Thursday, March the 11th in the afternoon. The following day, March 12th, we have decided to cancel all university events, all gatherings, and limit travel. And also we contacted all our students abroad to come back with assistance from us. So that's actually less than a day after the organization, which is supposed to be the umbrella organization for those decisions. In terms of government decision, it's very important in this case not to make those decisions in isolation of the public institutions around us. And I'm talking here about all agencies that are knowledgeable. So basically all our decisions have to be aligned with them. And we could not make an earlier decision while the government has not decided, for example, to close the schools. So we waited until Friday the 13th, because at that time the government has decided to close all elementary and secondary school. And because of that, we also moved very quickly on Friday, mid of the day. I think the announcement was made public around 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, to change the mode of delivery to online or distance, and to cancel all in-person exams. So I'm just giving you the sequence of decisions, but also those sequences are in line with what other organizations around us are doing. And then on the following week, when once the provincial government decided about essential services, also we shifted to essential services on the 17th, and the 17th I think was on Tuesday. And then on the 17th, the same day, we announced that also we have to close residences with exception for students who cannot move out of the residence, because we had also international students and we did not want to push them out of residence. And I can tell you in terms of timing, by March 20th, 95% of all our staff at Ryerson moved to work from home. So that was actually a very good timing, and everything happened within a week. And by 23rd of March, all courses operating through or moved to be operating through alternative delivery mechanism. So I would say we have done everything possible to protect our community, but we have done it also in consultation with public agencies or public health agencies, but also with our provincial government.
Wonderful, thank you. I think we have time for just one more question.
Okay.
We have a couple questions that kind of involved your personal life a little bit. So we have an anonymous question here that says, how has your upbringing in LSNAM informed your position as now president of the Ryerson? And then we have a question from Kendall that says, in what ways have leaders in your life either inspired you, pushed you, or been there to support you in your life? So maybe we could tie those two questions together, and maybe you could tell us a story.
Thank you very much. I think the first question is somebody's asking a question about something that happened to me when I was 18, and it was at the end of my high school. It was the last year of high school. LSNAM is the city in Algeria where I was there, as I said, as a teenager. And what happened was a huge earthquake that killed about 4,000 people. Fortunately, I survived the earthquake. But the question was about what did you learn from that events? I would say my life is full of challenges, and to every challenge I see an opportunity. I survived, as I said, that earthquake, but I also wanted to learn from it. And one thing that I wanted to do at that age, because it was actually a decision for me to what to do at the university level, I decided after that to go to engineering and become civil engineer or structural engineer and learn how to save lives. You learn from those barriers in your life, and you try to implement lessons that you learn. And I would say what I'm doing now is full of lessons that I learned during my life, and hopefully at the end of the day, as I said, the most important aspect of what we are doing today is to protect our people. And if we do it in a way that everybody is safe while continuing their education, I think that's the most important thing for me in my role as president.
Nadia, can I jump in with a few more questions?
Absolutely.
I just see some good ones here from looking ahead a bit ahead from a situation that is sometimes hard to look ahead to, but I'm guessing you are, President Lachemi, starting to think about some of the things that are after the crisis.
Yeah.
So one question from Sarah, with Ryerson closed, is this an opportunity to reimagine our systems? Have you started imagining a new normal for Ryerson students?
It's an excellent question. I would say we need to learn from experiences like this. This is a kind of a very challenging experience, but it's a very unique experience for us. And definitely we will have a new norm, a new way of doing business. I don't think that we can go back to a system before this pandemic has to evolve. And I'm hoping, because we define ourselves as an innovation university, can we learn from lessons from this and becoming stronger? And I think the new normal for us is how we can evolve. I think one aspect of the questions that you asked today is about online education. Can we use this as an opportunity for us to help society in general? And I would say the way that we are trying to do now is can Ryerson be an agent for positive change? And I give you a number of examples of what Ryerson and our community has done, but I can tell you that we are in discussion with all levels of government about what are the opportunities for us to participate in the economic stimulus response to COVID-19 and being an agent of positive change. At the end of the day, what we do in our institution, we provide society with talented people. And the way that I see it, we are a pipeline for talent to fuel the economy. And in this case, we are talking about recovery. Can we think about the creativity that we are using to help recover? Because the impact on economy is going to be huge. And I know that many of my colleagues are already thinking out of the box. And that's the thing that what Ryerson should continue to do. Our innovation ecosystem is so robust that I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to help people who are in need. And I would say, if you look at the companies or enterprises, SMEs are really suffering these days. And I know that the DMZ is very active. Abdullah, who is the executive director of DMZ, is having actually a lot of activities helping those startups, but SMEs. And we want to continue to provide solutions. I can tell you in my discussion with all levels of government, these days is about providing solutions. I know that we need support from government, but it's about time for us to show that we are problem solvers. And I hope that Ryerson can continue with the same message, but also helping society and government implement solutions to the issues that we are facing.
A few other maybe lightning round questions. What have the discussions been surrounding fall 2020 classes? Will those be online as well? Oh, these are tough questions. These are not fair questions.
Let me probably just be very clear with you. The decision about the spring has been made by the university, where all courses in the spring will be online, and same way that we are doing these days. Officially, we have spring and summer, so we're delaying the beginning of the spring semester by 1 week, and then the summer semester in June also by 1 week. We are also, most of the courses for the summer will be online. Now, all depend on the situation. It's not our decision. We wait to see how governments will deal with the situation. One important thing is that university campuses are places for gatherings, for crowds, and in this case, it's very important for us not to make a decision right now, because it has to be also in line with what public health agencies, what also governments will decide about gatherings. So I know that's a long answer, but the short answer is the decision about the fall has not been made. We are assessing the situation. We continue to assess the situation, and then once we have all information and data, we will make that decision. But the decision, tell you the truth, as of today, we have not made the decision.
And there's maybe a related question, because that sounds like it would be a very difficult, whatever that decision is going to be, it's not going to be necessarily a simple one. There was another question, Kasana, who already got a question in, but I think there's another good one that she put forward that I want to ask. What's the most, of all the decisions and all the aspects, what's been the most difficult decision that you've had to make so far?
I would say many of the decisions are difficult, and we have to make those decisions with one concept in our mind, is that the health and safety of our community is our first priority. That has been actually the guidelines that we have used from day one. We weigh in any decision against the safety, health and safety of our students, our faculty, our staff. That's the most important thing. Now, in terms of all decisions, we're making daily decisions. I think the one of shifting everything to online or alternative ways of teaching, that was done in 24 hours, less than 24 hours. That was a difficult decision, but I think if we look at it from the perspective of the last 2 weeks, was the right decision. And I can tell you why I'm putting this as the top one, because many institutions, especially colleges, have decided the other way, saying that we close the institution for 1 week and then we switch. In our case, that switch was the same day. Friday, when we announced it, we said, as of today, we are moving everything out of the in-class experience. When you make that decision for 46,000 students, and also for thousands of instructors and faculty, it's not an easy one. But I am extremely impressed by the response of people, that people saw that decision as an important one. And the response, as I said, had faculty members working on that weekend to get the material ready for a class on Monday morning.
I understand that Sarah has a follow-up question to her earlier question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, thank you, first of all, for such a detailed response to the new normal question. You mentioned like working with colleagues, working with possibly the government. I was just curious if student input was going to play a role in creating what this new normal may look like, or any modifications that might be made.
I can tell you, thank you very much for the follow-up question. I can tell you one thing is important for us is consultation and communication. Those are important aspects to make sure that those decisions are the right decisions. The decision to change the grading system was done also in consultation with students, and we have reached out to a number of students because we have also the Senate, and with the Senate we have the representation from students. We wanted also to get their feedback and make sure that the decision is supported by students. I would say when we discussed this for the first time, many people saying that, oh, another institution in the city has just moved to pass-fail. And we thought, no, it's important for us not just to do what others are doing. Let's try to do things that are benefiting students. And when we talked to a number of students, we made that decision. Of course, the decision is a Senate decision, but we went to Senate with a recommendation really to make it easier for students to decide at the end of the day. Now, in terms of future, I think we can use platforms like this to gather also input and comments like ones that you are providing me today from students. It's important for us to continue this level of engagement. I don't see leadership just coming from top to bottom. I think good leadership has to involve the community in those decisions. And I can tell you, this year was a year of a lot of consultation in our community. We have developed 5 strategic documents for the university. Our academic plan, which is the most important document for the next 5 years, was done in consultation with the community. The provost has led that process of consultation, and the number of people who participated in it is in the hundreds. Same thing with our research plan. Same thing with our international plan. We are finalizing our master plan. All those plans that represent the framework in which we'll operate in the future are the results of consultation with our community. Yes, the new normal has to involve everyone. I don't think that I can tell you that I know what's the new normal. I have ideas, but it's important also to hear from others. It's a university that is full of creative people. Let's use that creativity to define what's the new normal for us. But what they want is that new normal to be the best for our community. And I think we have the potential, really, to stay true to our values. Creativity and innovation is part of our DNA.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, President Lachemi. Some great questions from our students. I hope that there was people feel represented in the questions that we chose. Again, questions that were not answered either because they were because we ran out of time, or they were very about specific sort of factual questions that we can try to get answered. We will send those on to the President's office, and they will in turn send them to the places that have those answers. And we look forward to sharing those with the community, as well as sharing this video with the community at large. Thank you, President Lachemi, for doing this with us. Thank you, Nadia, for helping run this Q&A. And to all of you who participated, thank you very much. We're going to take a 5-minute break for the Ryerson Leadership Lab and the Making the Future class, and we'll be back at 7:15 for the class. And I just wanted to leave it with President Lachemi if you had any final comments.
Thank you, Karim, and the leadership of the lab. Thank you very much for what you are doing. Great engagement from our students, and I'm so happy to see, as I said, many faces that I recognize. And please rest assured that we will get out of this crisis stronger, but that can be done with the help from all of us, working in collaboration, in partnership. And I see a lot of potential for the future for our university, but also most important thing at this point is to help our city, our province, and our country to deal with a very difficult situation. Thank you all. Have a good evening, and hope to talk to you soon.